when you know.
Okay, no problem. So anyway,
Alright.
but you know, I mean, my
We're
kids.
on camera, folks. I don't know what that's counting.
You guys got-
Counting frames.
John?
He's trying to at least 24 frames a second.
It's
Get one, get one,
That's counting voice.
get one for your buddy over there too.
Seconds. Yeah. You wanna run that down, maybe it's best to get sound.
No, it sounds all the time.
You know, I
Game
think.
and
I love ice cream.
Alright.
You signed in? You signed in?
Yeah, sign for me.
Okay, you signed? Okay.
How were you yesterday, John?
Welcome all. Will the officers committee please come to order?
How you feel?
We're okay. 5 out of 7, ain't bad. In case you didn't hear, we are on video. Later to be placed on the World Wide Web.
Ask me how you feel about it. What do you want to
I do.
do?
Sorry.
I think you're filming this.
I'm filming the wall. Right you are, filming the wall. Easy enough, now you fix that.
You're the man.
Alright.
Where is everybody?
Good question. I did put this out on bulk bulk email. And there's quite a bit of money up for consideration. Please be looking over the minutes. No minutes, okay, that's easy to look over. Alright. It would be nice if someone, in John's absence, nobody can be here all the time. So I'm obligated to remind all present that minutes must be kept for 7 years. That's state law, it's not our bylaws. However, when we have a video, we can probably fall back on that.
Was that last meeting videoed? I don't remember seeing it.
Sometimes due to operator error, we don't capture
Yeah, I know, it's,
some of the meetings. I mean, Ken found an icon on that screen I couldn't even see. Which you had to click before you could get a picture. Little tiny icon on top of the big icon. I couldn't even see it. Alright. We've got some major issues coming up. Just make a comment on the swap of these two buildings. There will be a story in the paper. The story will really be opinion free, it will just present facts and numbers. There are some fake news stories being published. And if someone bothers to really examine this proposed swap, I think you'll find that it is of great benefit to all parties. The idea of the huge value of that piece of property in the middle of residential Stratford is ridiculous. What are you gonna do? They're gonna sink an oil well there? So, the reporter needs a home. We need space for at least a year or two for Atlantic Broadband. This is gonna be a good deal, and that double wide rotting trailer over at CV Realty will be replaced by a high-end modular. It will look a lot better. So, gotta analyze the whole thing. Delegates will either accept it or they won't. Sic transit, Gloria Mundi. Let's go around the room. Bobby, you got anything for us?
Yeah, I just want to bring to everybody's attention and an ongoing effort to beautify the Okeechobee Gate. We went back to Rowe Sign Company, who painted and refurbished the sign. And his suggestion was to place on the spine of the sign, the area that faces directly out onto Okeechobee, a set of letters like this that will be glued on the top half of the sign that will say, "Welcome." And he will do that in royal blue, the same color as the sign, the lettering on the sign, the same, block lettering. And he will do that, permanently mount them for about $165. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention.
I thought beautification said they didn't want to have that done.
This is going through,
I don't know if it should be brought here, when beautification said they didn't think that was a good idea.
no, I don't think that was it at all. I brought it to beautification's attention and nobody said one way or the other.
Yes, they did.
Yes, there was another, sorry for interrupting.
What?
There was another meeting that this was brought up, and David, I know you had said you thought it would bring in people from across the street and everything else.
That was a joke. I did comment that it's pointing right at the trailer park and the ladies
I
of the
don't
evening
have
and
the
the
minutes.
druggies. I hope they don't take it literally.
But I thought at that time there was a vote taken.
No.
There was not.
No.
there was no.
Oh,
No.
alright.
So
Alright,
it just seems like it's a simple way to add some interest to the sign for a minimal expense.
it's the property manager's version of the Hippocratic Oath. It's not gonna do any harm,
Really, it's not.
so let's see how it.
Screwed in from the back.
No, he's gluing it.
Oh, he's gonna glue it.
That, yeah, permanent
Fine.
glue. This is just, he gave me that as an example.
It's an effort.
That's all, for a minimal amount of
I'm sure
money.
most of you have seen some of the incredible estimates for a real gussied up gate,
Yeah,
30, 40K.
and we're continuing with our efforts on the plantings.
Alright,
That's all I have to say.
I have additional comment on the sign, if that's okay.
goes on.
We got the lighting put in. 2 garden posts, two LEDs facing the plinth, the lower section. So that'll be lit up at night. Well, it is lit up at night, and it doesn't wash out the top part. I'm not so happy with the fixtures, because what it does is it casts a round shaped halo on the square. It looks kind of funny. So I'm gonna get 2 square fixtures that'll make a rectangular halo and just focus it until we get it just right.
I don't see the great value in lighting up a blue block.
Well, once the
And I
planting,
was concerned with washing out
Yeah.
the top part. I also, am I wrong that 2 of the letters are once again
They are.
extremely bright or dark? I don't know which it is.
No, we have two bulbs out right now,
Okay,
and we changed out the bulbs, and they're still not lit, so I've got the electrician on it.
good.
Anyway,
Anything else
that's all
on
I
this
got.
one?
no, other than, back to the next delegate meeting, I will be prepared for the papers to run a voice
Oh, in
vote,
case there's,
in
yeah,
case
call for
there's-
roll call.
yeah.
That's fine.
Well, what do you wanna do with the letters? Do you wanna make a motion on this, or?
Do you have to have a motion?
Okay.
It's $165.
Make a motion.
Motion to go ahead with
A
road,
welcome sign.
Road sign.
I'll second it.
Alright. Any further discussion on this one? For $165?
I think it's that.
Alright, go ahead, who's got it? Go ahead, John. Call it.
Okay, motions to proceed with the welcome sign. Bobby,
yes.
myself, yes. Stuart?
Yes, this is one of the cheapest investments we've made in a very long time.
Well said.
So I have no
Okay.
hesitation going
Joy?
forward with it.
Yes.
Okay, and David,
Yes.
okay. Motion passes unanimous.
John, you have anything for us?
No, not really.
Now,
I've been absent, I don't even know what's going on around here. I just happened to notice a blurb in the newspaper this morning about the notorious paint job on the neighbor's car.
That's the same thing I said.
how did we not know about this? This is obviously something that's been festering.
Yeah, but I'm
Someone's
saying, but
upset.
it was in the newspaper today, page 4 or 5 something, but
In the neighborhood news.
yeah, in the neighborhood.
The only one I know about is the guy that was going out at night digging, trying to replicate a World War I trench.
Oh, yeah.
And he was stopped and kind of melted down.
With revetments
And yeah, and was yelling and screaming at two ladies who maced him. And I understand he ended up in the hospital.
yeah, maybe they emptied the whole can out on the guy.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Somebody came around the corner.
What was it
For
about?
those of us who don't read the news.
He was digging a.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
But I don't know
I'll
about the
mention
car
it when
thing.
It was in the Palm
What
Beach
is
Post.
it?
It
No,
was,
we had a resident. Oh, you're asking about the car?
Yes,
I know nothing about it.
it was in the Palm Beach Post today, it was in the neighborhood news, I should have cut it out. It was a very small piece about a neighbor, they had a disagreement. And he went out and painted the neighbor's car,
We have
And,
disagreements here,
huh?
we have
A
disagreements.
lover scorn.
They don't go into detail.
Let me tell you where this leads to me. Now, there is occasional calls to bring back the ombudsman. Now, if you've been here long enough, you will remember, I remember Phil Shapkin was the ombudsman. Maybe Gene Dowling was his assistant, secretary. Yeah, that's what our records show.
Yeah.
So the idea is you
When
had a
keep
beef.
going.
You had a beef. You went into a closed chamber with non-attorneys who made decisions which they pulled out of God knows where. First thing I did, I went to Rod, I said, is this really any good? And he said, absolutely not. It's a lawsuit waiting to happen. This sounds like the sort of thing a real ombudsman could help with, right? It was obviously a long festering problem. And maybe we'll consider, maybe Rod, gonna cost us some money. We could reconstitute an ombudsman with Rod present at the meeting to keep us on the straight and narrow as regards the law. You can't just pull decisions down out of the air. So everybody think about that for a while. I think an ombudsman's a good idea if they're qualified. If they're qualified and know the law, right, is a big deal, or you're gonna get lawsuits.
I have the story up, just to give you the brief outline. 73-year-old male resident had a failed relationship and disagreement with a female neighbor and spray
Can you
painted
speak louder, please?
the car.
Buy the paper, you can get it later and read it.
I don't read the paper.
Oh, well,
I don't buy the paper. It's a waste of money.
Do I have to put this sordid little tale on the internet?
No.
No, it's
No,
fine.
No, it isn't worth
That's the
it.
point.
It's in the paper.
It's in the paper.
Just speak up a little so she can hear you, that's all.
Can't hear you back
Yeah,
there.
I'm reading the Palm Beach Post to you. Okay, gotcha.
A man's scorn.
All right, I wouldn't have even put Christopher Glenn up, but someone preempted me. It was a very sad case. But you can read about that in the paper too.
Speaking about cars and driving, somebody the other day came around the corner at Somerset off of the main drag and hit the car parked in her legal space, went away, $4,500 worth of damage. People just,
Oh,
You know, I could tell you the story. Poor guy lived in my building, Larry Kerner, may rest in peace. Drove right through the front wall of Unit 105. The snout of his car was in the kitchen.
but did he
The
stop?
poor, he
Oh,
stopped.
thank
The
goodness,
stove stopping.
yeah.
The poor guy was in there on the couch watching, he came out catatonic,
I don't blame him.
right? This happens all over this
Yeah.
way.
but to not stop or leave a note.
Well,
Just-
Yeah,
the
right.
people, certain people shouldn't be allowed to drive, what can I say?
Yep.
Right?
Well, it just cost me $550, somebody just hit the back part of my car.
Alright,
Pete
Um,
called the other
hi,
day,
Bob.
called me, Pete,
Oh, yeah.
thanking us for the article, saying he got a lot of calls and a lot of business, and he was thrilled with the
Good.
article.
Okay. He
Um,
deserves it.
John, anything else?
No, that's it.
Stuart?
I just wanted to add on to what I had said to you the other day, the two women, we know who they were, cause we had gone over to the building. And we had the guy in here and we spoke to him, we knew he was ready to pop a cork, even though he walked out somewhat calm. And he just started all over again, verbally abusing the women, and they were so frightened that they both reached into their bags and took out the mace and let him have it. And so when I was coming through the gate, I saw the two police cars with the two women in their own car writing up the report. And I wanted to make sure that security had it on their records, but I had known already what was going on. And we knew it was, that he was ready to pop his cork. And it's just, there's nothing you could do about something like this. The same way, no matter how often you tell people to drive slow, I saw yesterday twice, a guy crossed the double yellow line to get in front of somebody who was doing 25 and racing down. And you often ask yourself, where are the cops when you need them? And this is also an accident waiting to happen. But it's a scary piece of business and there's really nothing you could do. The other issue is in my area, they're doing reconstruction. And I watch the construction people take the debris out and dump it into the garbage cans. Anything that's available, they dump it in there, or they disguise it with big plastic bags. And then all of a sudden, you wanna throw your debris away and it's up to and you have to wait 3-4 days before your schedule. And no matter how often you tell these people, they say, okay, and they go about doing what they have to do anyway, and it's almost like a losing battle. I don't wanna start up with them, but I do raise my voice just to say I did. But it's, I understand it's somewhat of a village problem.
It's a community-wide problem.
Obviously, you can work with Donald, sometimes you can schedule a special pickup. But if that thing is loaded with, for example, concrete, see, we've had so much concrete in some of them that they can't even pick them up. And then that's a different story, then the money comes out to clean up a big pile of that stuff,
It's even better to just leave it next to the dumpster,
right?
and then they'll come with the clam, the garbage company, they'll charge you for $75 to get rid of it. Not talking about a lot of money.
People don't care, there's some of the contractors that they'll go around and they'll dumpster pick, they'll put a little here and they put a little there and they go all over the building. And if we could identify those people with pictures, we could look into banning them from coming through our gates,
Be nice.
right? So think
Right
about,
here in the village.
think about it. Alright, anything else, Stu?
Just one other little thing, it's sad that people who either are on the boards or owners and now renters have very little, some of them have very little understanding of what their rights and responsibilities are. I had a woman in yesterday who is 80, doesn't speak English very well, her mother and the daughter was with her. And they rented an apartment, and for the last 7 or 8 days, the air conditioning was down. And they were, can you imagine how hot it must be? And the owner of the apartment was getting estimates to get it repaired. And finally, they did get it repaired after 7 days of sweltering heat. The only good thing about that is these people, their lease is up and they're moving. So they escaped the slumlord that is running, but this is probably indicative of what's going on. The owners of apartments that are renting it out really don't give a darn about the people they have in there. And I don't know if they complain to the association about the issue. I don't know how much power or pressure the association can put on the owner, but
Lots of power. Lots of power if they want to.
yeah. And the other was, one of the people came in and said that there was a hoarder and the bugs and everything else, and they didn't know what to do. So I talked to Donald about it, cause we've gone through this before, but it's an issue. And you can't, it's just so frustrating to talk to people when they're talking about hoarders and the bugs and the mice or rats and so on, and they throw up their hands and they really are at loose ends as to who to see, what to do and so on. And the only thing I could do is kind of direct them, lay it on the board.
The hoarders, specifically if there are rodents and bugs. There's a number behind 211. And there are people who will deal with that.
Yeah.
They will come and they will look at this and they will clean it out. Now, they'll bill somebody, right? But that's an option open to you.
I can show you in the book, the county book, I can show you the agency, cause I have
That's
a,
Office of the Aging will come.
Well,
I have a
I
unit
don't know
too.
what good that does.
you clean it out.
My mother's, one of my mother's units had someone, they came in, they took everything out of their house, put it in the yard, sprayed the bugs and everything else, and then these people just turned it up, put it right back in the house.
Yeah, I've
Well-
seen that in several
So
places.
it didn't do anything, and they're still there.
The board has to be somewhat
Yeah.
ordered.
We drove past the house where the guy had his boxes stacked up in the front on the walkway.
Sure.
That's against, that's
Oh,
against the
boy.
bylaws.
Welcome to America.
Yeah,
What can I say?
borders are a difficult problem.
Stu, anything else?
No, that was it. It was all good stuff, right?
All right, Joy.
Boy.
Paper will be out Monday morning for delivery. 56 pages, it's got a lot of information in it. So take a good look at it, see what you gain from it. That's it, nothing else.
There's no unfinished business, but we have a good deal of new business.
I'll just ask a question, David. Do you have to have a license to carry mace?
I do not know,
I don't think
but
so.
we can certainly look
I'm
it up.
just curious.
It's easy to look up.
Always carry wasp spray, there's no license for that. It works just as good.
Just curious.
Easy way is to call Lieutenant Hill.
I'll
Hard
ask
way
him.
is we can search through statutes.
Just curious.
Maybe we'll do both. Okay, we have some heavy new business here. So why don't we bring up Donald?
Morning, everyone. All right, first item on the agenda is decorative lighting for both entrances. This is the royal palm tree spirals and the eaves of the two guardhouses. This contract is from Godly Electrical. It is comprehensive for material and labor. There are some exceptions, they've been outlined. This contract has been approved and recommended by the bid committee. They've gone over the specs of the material as well. I was hoping to have a sample of the lighting here for you guys to see, but I wasn't able to get it in time.
Service strips.
Disc strips, yeah, and when I get them, I'll bring them to a meeting and we'll all play with them. I think we pretty much covered everything here. It's a 3-year contract. The lights themselves are warranted for 3 years, labor's warranted for 3 years. The power supply issue is covered here. We're gonna put a new garden post along each of the trees. It's pretty much what you see. I got it down to one page. Can't be simpler. So if anyone has any questions, now would be the time.
Is this year round or is it?
This is for year-round installation, and,
Marcia,
Okay. In the first line here, it mentions guardhouse Christmas lights proposal.
this was originally a holiday lighting proposal.
But that shouldn't be,
I understand, ma'am. This is originally a holiday lighting I understand. I'm going to respond now. This was originally a holiday lighting proposal. So these things are generally called Christmas lights, but we're just gonna leave them up year round.
white, right?
There's white. Yeah,
Do they-
unless you want something else.
No,
Up to you guys.
No, only the sign on welcome.
I strongly suggest white.
Do,
Very neutral color.
You don't want blue.
Blinking?
Tom, they're gonna be blinking, right?
John,
do they go
I'm
on,
gonna give you the look now.
do they go on at specific times?
Yes, they're on
Oh, no.
they're on a timer. We could, the last time we did this, I did 6 to 6. I think I wound up truncating that to 6 to midnight. And then just to reduce wear on the LEDs, I think after midnight, there's no reason for those things to be on. 6 hours, local sundown to,
I suspect that these strip lights have a very long
oh yeah.
life cycle.
I
Marcia?
really would like to see the word Christmas is in here at the bottom also taken out of this proposal. So there should be no misunderstanding, because it's at the bottom also under electric Christmas trees and guardhouse lighting. It should be out of it, it's not just decorative and it should be out of this proposal.
Yeah, we could substitute Christmas, which
And I think you should.
yeah, and we can substitute decorative
I
lighting.
don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah, decorative, that's cool.
And this allows,
Your point's well taken.
Yeah.
Don't give them a little weasel out where they come, they put them up and take them down, and we dump 16K on it.
And there's also community considerations.
Yeah.
Christmas is a thing maybe we shouldn't have in.
It's a
in-
technical form, the second.
Yeah, we can take that.
It's a descriptive term.
David.
that's all.
I'm on the big committee, I was the only dissenting voice to this. And I still don't know the value of this at all. And especially on the Haverhill entrance where there are people that live close to the lights. I don't wanna particularly look out at lights at midnight. I think the way the palm trees are illuminated now are wonderful. I don't like the gaudiness of coming into an entrance. I sort of like, we're hidden, it's a little secluded, I sort of like it that way. I've never had anybody that was a guest of mine come in here and say to me, I would never move into here because you have ugly entrances. I'm sorry. Everybody that comes in here says, look how beautiful this campus is, and all
You
these
don't
things
buy
that we
the
have.
curb appeal, are you?
Not with this.
Okay,
Yeah.
Marcia?
I didn't realize that, but you're absolutely right, because most of the other developments that have this don't have apartments and houses near the gates where this would affect this. So that's very true. Those other developments don't have what we have, it's not, it's not built the way our place is built.
And if I remember correctly, that's why we shortened the time that we run the things, the last time we had these things up. We did go to midnight because we thought for the people that live along, there's I think 5 buildings along the Haverhill edge that would be
Is
impacted.
a suggestion to only have it on the outside
Yes,
of campus, coming up to the guard shack?
yes,
Is that what you're saying?
yes.
Okay.
You have to think this, because people's homes are there, and you have to think this out, especially like David said, he lives there. If you're not in that position, you may not understand that, what the problem is or how annoying it can be.
Which is
No,
what's
I was a direct, I'll say recipient of this issue. It was poorly thought out to put those noise strips on that curve at Golf's Edge. And you don't think about it. People they're sleeping with windows open and clack, 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 clack. And eventually, there was civil action. They went out
Rough justice.
and dug them up. And don't think it wouldn't happen if people are being kept awake by bright lights. And don't think people wouldn't go out who are missing sleep and pull
They
them
don't even
down.
have to go out.
Yeah.
Right from their window.
what he's also suggesting is you could turn the lights off at say 8 o'clock. rather than leave them on till midnight,
Make them any way you want.
which
They're on
could,
timers.
which could pretty much sync with the time of night people don't wanna see them.
Alright, this is
They're
another
front-loaded.
suggestion, I'm just thinking maybe to cut off the lighting at the guard shack.
Well, if you're looking strictly for for entrance appeal, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, personally, I wouldn't do it this way for curb appeal anyways, but if you're going to do it, my suggestion would be just up to the guardhouse,
That's what the proposal is.
not 10
Oh, okay.
trees.
So this other argument is superfluous, isn't
I
it?
think that,
No, I think Mr. Boas is incorrect. There are 10 trees in front of the guardhouses. There's 11 in one section and one entrance and 10 on the other.
Okay, so there's no apartments in that case. Oh, yes, there is.
Sure.
Over at Haverhill, there
East-
is. Sure.
East Hampton, Salisbury, Waltham.
There are 10 palm trees from the entrance on Haverhill up to the guardhouse?
No, never.
Well, we could take a look at this picture right here. And kind of hard to see obviously from there, but yeah, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9, and then one here, that's 10. And then there's the guardhouse.
Having bushes, not
No,
trees.
they're royal palm trees.
But
What
from
you got on the
entrance
other
to
end?
the guardhouse, I think,
Really?
I don't think so.
I'm quite certain, ma'am, that there are
I
there are
think you're
10
mistaken.
royal palm trees out here between Okeechobee.
There are royal
Boulevard.
palm trees, but I
They
don't
wanna
think
know
from the
about
entrance to the
Haverhill.
guardhouse, I think you're mistaken.
Alright.
Why are we on Haverhill?
There are 10, there are
What's
10
Haverhill?
and 1 and 11 on the other.
You make a run,
Bobby?
I'm really against spending this kind of money. I have no objection to decorating the guardhouses as you come in permanently. But I think if we're interested in curb appeal, you get people in to the village and then they go to buy some of these apartments where the vegetation is so overgrown. Maybe a concerted effort to let associations know you want to sell apartments, perhaps clean up your own property. I don't see any point in spending $16,000 at the entrance and then once people get in, they're turned off by the property that they're looking at specifically.
You know, we used to have contests,
Yes.
remember?
Beautification
The
committee has
most
done this.
beautiful,
Some of those signs are still up.
Yes, over in,
One by you.
yes.
Charlie.
But I don't see any problem with just decorating, putting permanent lights around the guardhouses.
how
I have
bright
no
are these
objection
lights?
to that.
How bright are these lights? My impression is when you describe them as Christmas lights, we're not talking about the holy part of a holiday. Christmas lights traditionally are very small and not very bright.
They're not
Right.
meant to light anything. They're meant to
Exactly,
be looked
they're
at.
just
They're
as
decorative.
decorative, right,
If you remember what we had 2 years ago,
yes.
it'll be very similar.
Yes.
As far as
And I
how
can
much
tell
light it
you
has.
that we had a lot of comments, a lot of people called into the paper to tell us how pretty the village looked with the lights, how much it added to this village. Now, you're all concentrating on the Haverhill gate, but you have the Okeechobee gate here, there's nothing near there that they can't have the lights there.
Right.
And that is also considered a main entrance for the village, we're putting the sign up there, we put no lights in there. So, I mean, I can understand the people, I know, I had a friend who rented one of the units over there by the Haverhill gate. But, like I said, I don't think they're that bright, the lights.
They're not meant to illuminate
No,
anything.
they're small, aren't they? Like a small,
Yeah, they're tiny
yeah.
little,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a little modernized version of what you saw.
They're decorative,
Yeah.
they're not there to illuminate anything,
No.
they're there as a decorative, that's it. Okay.
Alright, I'm hearing maybe we're gonna rescope this project to only consider, how to state this, off-campus part of the foliage up to the guard shack. It's not gonna completely solve the objection on the Haverhill side.
Well, that's what's here. You only have up to the guardhouse.
Okay, I thought you had some inside.
No, none at
Over
all,
here.
nothing.
Oh, okay.
Everything is in front of the guard shack.
So what we'll see is if East Hampton is concerned about this,
Okay.
and you really won't know until they're up. And somebody is bothered by them. They're not gonna blink, John, so it shouldn't be too bad.
You have one East Hampton building, two East Hampton buildings, one Salisbury building, one Walton building. That's the right.
And this should, okay, John?
When, you close the gate, shut the lights off. You know, at midnight, you gotta go
Midnight.
in and out,
Sure.
shut the lights off, and then there's no
Yeah.
problem.
That makes
Now, I'm
sense.
sorry if somebody wants to go to bed at 8 o'clock and the lights bother them, there is an option of buying a blind to put up on your window to keep the light from coming in.
Most of them have their bedrooms with the back anyway.
Does
And,
this
so-
installation
Alright,
account for the growth of the trees?
Bobby had a question.
Does this kind of wrapping allow
Yes.
for the growth of the trees?
Yes,
That's-
in rainy season, the trunks of the royal palm trees can be expected to expand by 1/3.
So
It includes every 6 months, we're gonna retension these things.
Rewrap it in 6 months.
That keeps it from damaging the tree, which is most important.
You know, we've spent a lot of time on this project, folks. Think about it. And in the grand scale of things, it almost shrinks to insignificance. We ought to make a decision on it.
Yes, I agree.
John?
I'm glad you're coming into the 20th century like most communities.
Really.
Okay.
21st century, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, when I drive around, there are some places that really look nice,
Yes.
right?
Entrances,
But I don't know what the maintenance tail is.
the aesthetics is everything.
Right, can we have a vote on this one?
It's cheaper than the water fountain.
Okay, so what I have down here for a motion, I don't have who give it, but it was for the installation of year-round decorative lighting by Godly Electrical Services, and it'll add on, entrances up to the guardhouses. So,
Someone should I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
who seconds that?
I did.
Okay,
Is there any further discussion on this? All right, go ahead and call, please.
okay, Bobby,
No.
John, yes, Bob Marsh, Stuart Richland.
Yeah.
Joy Vestal,
Yes.
Ed Black,
Yes.
David Israel.
Yes,
Yes, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 1 opposed.
Alright, and for the final version, I will remove Christmas and insert decorative. Also, it is a little unclear here that these are only for the front of the guardhouses. I'll make sure that's in as well.
all right.
Okay, next item is 2 storm drains at the Stratford section, one at Stratford A, one at Stratford H. As you recall, last year, the third storm drain at Stratford E had a hole, and there was a sinkhole. We cleaned out, repaired, and re-sleeved that storm drain. At Tony's request, we had the remaining 2 storm drains inspected for damage. Good news is, we didn't find any major damage. We found a dent, essentially a dent in one of the storm drains at Stratford H, which can be repaired with jacks. There's no actual break. But we did find quite a bit of garbage laying inside the pipe, and I'm seeing concrete, abandoned irrigation lines, mud, branches, junk. This proposal is to de-junk these pipes, which just seems like a good idea, and I can't imagine it wouldn't help with the flow of drainage during rainstorms in the Stratford section. This proposal is from Anchor Marine Services, who has done work for us on all of these drains before.
How much?
$550,
5,500.
$5,500.
Marcia?
If I remember correctly, when Ted Hurley was here, Mr. Kim, that same area, it was done by the same company.
It was.
Yes, it was, that's what I thought, I remembered that.
Different.
So that's not so long ago, that we had to, are we gonna have this problem every year, or what's going on there?
That's been
Oh, yeah, it was a different pipe, but
Well, I don't know, that's what I know, it was in the same spot and everything, and
Marcia, it was $60,000 and we did the whole community at that time.
I wasn't talking about I'm talking about this specific area that was done, and I don't know if we're gonna have this problem
He
all the
mentioned
time.
it.
yeah, we did.
We had
Stratford
fixed
E
sinkhole.
had a major issue there. That was about 20 grand to fix that one, because that was real damage. It had to be excavated.
You know, I'm not questioning, I'm questioning whether if there's something else that we're not seeing or doing that's gonna happen all the time at this, is there something more to this? That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Almost certainly there is. These storm drains collect stuff gets in them. If they're sound and if there are no big holes in them, stuff will get in through the storm drains. This is maintenance essentially. We were lucky in that we expected to find damage in one of them. That's the reason we scoped these two pipes and we found no significant damage. That was the good news. But there's the junk, so we know about it, and my proposal here is to de-junk the pipes.
And Donald, my question is that this is as far as we go, as far as UCO goes. Then these buildings themselves have to, if they want any further insurance about damage, and they agreed at that meeting, I believe, to take Howie was here.
Yeah.
And they agreed then to take their share and their part of it. This is as far as
Right,
UCO is going.
what
with
actually
it.
He didn't
start-
agree
what
to
ac-
anything. He
what
will
ac-
take it back to his people. He
What
didn't
actually
agree.
started this project was Tony had noticed some claims in these areas. And she wanted to rule out any UCO involvement, and this is the part that we're responsible for. And now that we've ruled that out, now Tony needs to help these people try to figure out there is one building where there is a subsidence issue, it's obvious. I've taken several people here to see it. They're gonna have to figure that out, and we can help them as best we
Because
can.
with my understanding, I'm only saying that Howie was here, but you had
Yeah.
already spoken to the president that these buildings.
I have not made any contact with these buildings yet, no. I was hoping to do that through the Stratford Umbrella Association.
Okay,
Which meets again in September.
Yeah,
And
okay.
we should have a full picture of what they
Is
may
there
have
a
to do.
lot of sand in the pipe?
I see mud,
Okay.
mud, yes, but if it's anything like the last one I crawled in, it was third filled with mud, and I'm sure this is no different.
As you pointed out, one of the buildings, there's subsidence, it has sunk.
Yeah.
To put it in simple terms.
Mhm.
I would have bet money that we would find a rusted out pipe
Me too.
sucking dirt out from underneath that building. Not the case. So they're gonna have to bite the bullet and bring in a Doppler radar crew. And they're gonna have to find out why that building is sinking. And as I said at a prior meeting, it is of interest to UCO only insofar as if one building can sink, another building can sink. We really need to know what's going on there, right? But this is one unique issue. To the extent we can clean that pipe out, somebody's gotta take responsibility for the campus-wide irrigation system. And I wouldn't sit here and hold my breath for anyone else to do it. Right? Anything else on this one?
Pretty much, if you guys have any other questions.
Want to
it's,
make a motion?
Sure.
You need a motion? I'll make a motion that we accept a proposal from Anchor Marine to do the work at the Stratford A and H according to this proposal.
This will come out of infrastructure reserve.
It will.
I'll second that.
Marcia,
I wanna know who's gonna take responsibility to make sure the building is going to do something in the near future. Get an
Not.
engineer, whatever they have to do to find out what's going, because if someone doesn't take responsibility just to find out what's happening, I think that this is an ongoing problem.
we can act as a bully pulpit, but we cannot,
I understand what our limits are, but still, I think someone has to be responsible to really find out what they're going to do or not going to do.
I think Donald has been doing that.
At this point,
Since he didn't make contact with them, I don't think so yet.
At this point, the lead would be Tony and Dominic, infrastructure and insurance. And they need to be told, you got a problem on this property, and we can give them suggestions, and one of them is Doppler radar, which will help them find a void.
Or maybe you have to go to their first area meeting and tell the people what's going on, so they have a real idea what's happening.
Right.
That's in the plan,
So
we
they
do,
understand.
we go to their meetings every
I'm
month.
still speaking. So the people who live there really have a good understanding of why they have to raise this money if they don't have it and what they have to do.
Absolutely. And Ed and I actually attend each of the Stratford area meetings, so we will certainly be at the next one.
I know Howie and the area Stratford group president I see them at least twice a month at meetings. I've already discussed it with them. They are aware of what's happening. We just have to tell them or direct them as to
At
what
the
to,
Pythian meeting?
at my nights,
Pythian meeting, that's what I just said.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
If this were to accelerate, that building could lose its certificate of occupancy.
Yes.
There could be a real issue over there. We need to find out what's going on over there.
And I'm not sure it should wait till there's
No, it shouldn't wait.
September
No.
meeting, so
It should,
we should talk to them and tell them that now.
Right.
And we will.
Sooner than later, absolutely.
David,
Just to get back to Anchor Marine Services, these guys did a great job at Southampton for us, professional, very
Should
clean. When they were gone, you didn't even notice that they did
Right.
anything over there.
Yeah.
But I think it's.
this is a well-known company in Florida. Alright. We have a motion, we have a second,
We do.
further discussion? Alright, go ahead, John.
Bobby,
Yes.
John, yes, Stuart,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Ed Black,
Yeah.
and David,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, last item. One of the Yuko officers has made the observation that our restrooms here at the Yuko building have no hot water. It's cold, we're a cold water flat except for the kitchen. So I've brought some estimates in for providing hot water to the 3 restrooms. Now, I can't find anything in code, county code, that says we need to have hot water. However, this is an OSHA governed building, because it's a workplace. OSHA does have a rule on this, and the rule is hot water to 140 degrees or make available hand sanitizer. Obviously one is much cheaper than the other. Some of the feedback that I've gotten to people who use this office, that use this building, is that they don't like washing their hands because they have arthritis in their hands and the hands are cold and the water's cold. I don't have arthritis in my hands, so I can't really speak to that.
I raised this issue. I felt it was a sanitary issue, that there should be a hot water source in the bathrooms at least to wash your hands.
I agree.
Point to any other, you know.
You have
this
hot
is-
water in your house,
Yeah.
I got hot water in my house, why can't I have it here?
Now, they put a little point of service heater in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It must be set at 80 degrees or something, it's not really hot. I assume it can be adjusted.
There's an aquastat, I can turn it on.
Yeah, so I just brought it up for people to think about. I mean, people in this room are the ones who use it most, so Marilyn.
I was under the impression from one of the buildings that I know of that they had put tankless hot water heaters in, and they had to take them all out, that they are
Indeed.
illegal in the building.
Yeah, well, those buildings were built in the early 1970s.
With 100 amp service.
Yeah, these buildings were built in, 2006.
We have 200 amps.
This work would have to be permitted, but we can put point of service hot water at each of the bathrooms. Got a proposal from the plumber for $1,045. Another proposal from the electrician for $1,200. Total of $2,245 for the whole job. Specs are included, if that
Marcia.
interests
I
you.
think it's a very good idea, since almost all of us have worked in this building at one time, or I would say volunteered in this building at one time, and it's probably very necessary.
Marcia, you worked here back in the day. Did this come up before?
No, it never came up before, but I was in this building like for 19 years doing one thing or another.
Yeah. Did this not come up? Did we
No, it didn't.
we just discover one
It
day?
didn't.
Okay.
I don't remember it ever coming up, but that's fine, I think it's a good idea and should be done.
I have a question. You have one company. Were there any other bids?
No.
Pete didn't bid?
No.
Did he know about it?
No.
Well, the only reason I asked it, and it's sort of a side, but I think it's a good idea to use our advertisers when we can too for these kind of projects. You know, and we have more than one plumber advertising in the reporter, so,
I almost hate to say this on camera, but I bet a nice chunk of money that Pete's estimate will come in higher than this.
Happy to bring them in.
It won't hurt,
Mhm.
but he does good work, I'm not saying he doesn't.
Mhm.
But his bills are up, let's say on the husky side.
And going along with Joy, this building's been here, well, practically since I've been here, so if we went this long without water, another month, without hot water, another month, ain't gonna hurt anybody, so we can get a couple of more
It was a
estimates.
building,
And-
2008? That sound right, yeah, 2008.
Yeah, so just
Yeah.
to quiet the naysayers and
Shall I give Pete a call?
It won't hurt,
Why
sure.
not?
we'll
Absolutely.
we'll get the estimates and then
Right.
go from there.
I said,
Of course, he'll see this on camera and I'll say, yeah, I'll come in under that.
Okay, that'll work.
It's okay by me, as long as it's dry.
David,
I don't know about the space requirements, so I can't say, I'm just gonna ask a simple question. Is there some place where you could put a tanked water heater to cover all three
We
bathrooms?
gave that some thought and I can't think of a place.
So you've answered my question, I said, I don't know where the spacing is at.
Investigations is way far from the bathroom, so I can't put it in.
you know, if we had to, but one of the things that bothers me so much, just in my building, I have 8 laundry rooms in my building. Every one of them has a 50-gallon hot water tank. 8 of them, and they sit there heating hot water
Mhm.
day and night, whether people are washing clothes or not. But it cows the board every time I bring it up because the initial costs of the electrical retrofit alone, all the way back to FPL's transformer, it's just staggering. And it backs people off. I mean, it would be an ideal place for point of service hot water. But that initial cost is a killer.
What about solar?
Say again?
Solar.
Yeah, we looked at it, Ken. We got about 20,000 square feet on the roof. But those laundry rooms, they take a lot of power. Of course, after Francis and Jean, I wanted to put a 0.5 megawatt generator to power the whole building. And it was close. It was a close vote. After 2 weeks in the dark. All
What
right.
did that run, what was that run about? Something like.
0.5 megawatt
Yeah.
generator?
Yeah.
You got a big building.
Thank you. You're talking $250,000. $250,000.
Could turn the hot water heaters off at night, turn them back on in the
We
morning.
tried that, but we couldn't make people happy. Irving, they wanted to get up at 4 in the morning and do their laundry. So we yeah, I hear you. So many things you can do, but and some of these ox gets gored. We had a timer set to do exactly that.
A lot of buildings have that.
And then, of course, every time there was a power failure, somebody had to go around and reset the time.
So for my minutes, we're tabling this till a
Get
further
another bid?
further bids, so we're done, okay.
Sure.
We leave it at just one.
One bid? I thought you said you were gonna get Pete to bid.
Yeah, well, that was she
Can we
said.
just make it Pete and be done with it?
No, we got one on the table. Let's see what Pete says.
That'll be 2.
Maybe two.
Alright.
I thought we had talked to Pete about this.
We did.
The numbers were big.
They were.
And who's done the work with people?
Alright, moving right along. Yeah, table is a good word. Okay,
That's all I got.
that's all you got?
Wait a minute, one more. Oh, that's right, never mind. Go ahead.
John,
Can I bring up something?
why not? Are you a citizen of the realm?
I know, but I didn't. Hey, listen, 2 years ago, behind Camden Sea, we had 3 iguanas.
Iguanas?
Iguanas. Last year,
Big ones?
yeah,
Big-
yes, last year we had 7, this year we got 12.
Wow, I got one near my building,
And-
bring one
and-
over?
I was reading an article about Fort Lauderdale where they didn't take care of their iguanas and they ended up with 375 of them.
Oh, we've got more.
I called a trapper and he wants $500 just to come and bring the things. That's not.
Per animal?
No, he'll bring me half a dozen traps.
Okay.
And, but then everyone he takes away to relocate or to give to somebody to eat, he charges you for it. But, and I'm not saying it's gonna happen tomorrow or the next day, but in the future, you're gonna have a problem with these iguanas if you don't start getting rid of them. Because they multiply 100-fold every year. I mean, we got a whole litter of them back here now, you know?
right.
They just hatch.
Um,
I'm saying something you gotta look at for the future.
all right. They are somewhat territorial, so in that respect, it's a building by building thing, however. There's one up, on the rec facility, approaching 7 feet long. He just fascinates me. And the way he changes colors, it's like something out of the Jurassic
And
era.
it's nothing that you can tell people, you can tell people, don't feed the animals, don't feed the animals, don't feed the animals. They feed them.
No, it's
And
worse than that.
now they're like,
They feed
they're
themselves.
not afraid of humans, I mean, they come right up on the patios and.
Well, the other side of the problem is they have a very nasty bite,
Oh, hell yeah.
alright? And I think about grandkids who might be fascinated by this creature.
No, I'm fascinated.
Usually they go away,
Me too.
but this big one,
Yeah.
I mean, he'll sit up in a tree and stare you
We got
right in
one
the
about,
eye.
we got one about 5 feet back here.
I would say it's a building by building thing because they are territorial. The other piece you wanna bring up at operations. I wanna remind you that they are already spending $50 a bird
Duck.
to export ducks and Egyptian geese. It could be very expensive, something to think about.
Why don't we just have a duck season?
A duck,
We're just talking about that.
Yeah, what's,
well, I asked Donald about duck hunting,
$50 a bird,
huh?
it's a lot cheaper than $50 a bird and somebody gets to eat something. With a bow and arrow.
You know, you're gonna laugh, but I did discuss this with Dominic at the Chinese restaurant.
Bow and arrow.
No, coming in here in a white panel truck and scooping up the ducks.
Oh, boy.
Selling it to the Chinese.
He didn't seem happy.
Exactly where you get probably.
Can you see the
Tell
publicity
David
on
what
that?
Chinese restaurant.
Singing bamboo.
Do they,
Oh.
Don't
He
order the
didn't-
duck.
He hasn't done it.
You've been warned.
My research shows that the Muscovy duck is the lowest fat, tastiest of duck.
I've never eaten duck.
I haven't, they were
and a
good.
BB gun will take them down.
Alright, committee reports, obviously, get any chairs in here, committee chairs, sure there are.
You missed the engineer monitor.
Oh, I'm sorry, $1,500 for engineers to monitor the reflection bay drainage issue. That must be my item, because we've been going back and forth with Mr. Waldron. One on fixing his fence along the south side of Century Boulevard, 1,300 feet worth, which keeps tilting into the path of pedestrians. The other issue is the so-called hopping fence he was gonna build. Alright, he'll say, well, when I get my project underway, I'll do that, so I can't shoot him for that. And then he hasn't had a word to say about the 300-page toxicity report. But he wants us to grant him a drainage easement. Now, I wanna tell you something, he came to this building on a Sunday. He's got a lawyer, we've got a lawyer working this problem, and he just drops in here. That's what we call ex parte communications. I was I really was upset. So Rod Tennyson says, why don't you hire an engineer to watch what Waldman is doing from an expert point of view as regards drainage? Because as of this time, I don't feel a groundswell to grant him a drainage easement. He won't fix his fence. He won't even admit it's his fence. And I'm in no mood to do Mr. Waldman favors. I don't know what else to say. So the question is, should we spend this money to have an engineer keep an eye on Drew Waldman and his drainage activities? That's what this is about. Marcia.
Drew Martin from the Sierra Club, who has been involved in all of these issues all over and has written articles in Palm Beach Post, would like to make a meeting with you and Shelley. I think Shelley has called to ask for her and Drew Martin to have a meeting with you. And I don't think they've heard anything. And I don't know how you feel about this, but they certainly would like to have a meeting with you.
I would be glad to have a meeting with Martin. I know of Martin, and he is at the executive level in the Sierra Club. PRPC, you know, I almost know
He's
what.
been working with us as well with the PRPC, and he's been a good help. But he really would like to have a meeting with you, and Shelley would like to be there because she is with the PRPC. But they said they've heard nothing back. They've asked, they called, and they've heard nothing back.
Well, I'll be honest, I haven't heard from Drew Martin.
No, I don't think
What?
maybe from Drew Martin, maybe you heard from Shelley.
Maybe.
Maybe, I can't say for sure. I think so, but I'm not positive.
All right, let me write down Drew Martin's name. And he's easy to find. Okay. But that leaves us with this question of should we engage this engineer?
I think I've been reading a little bit about how they set this all up, and the South Ward of Florida Management and a couple other entities all got together and figured all this out years ago when they started this. The way the water drains across here, it's got a couple of lakes on the property already and drains and runs through. And ultimately, Century Village is responsible for all of that. Now, when he sold off the portion in the middle, I guess we're still responsible for the drainage per se, but I don't see where we have to grant anybody anything else. It's already been established. Just like a river runs through, the river runs, you ain't gonna change it.
I'll tell you what. South Florida Water Management will not chop on his project unless he can assure them that he has guaranteed outflow. And the only way, well, it's not the only way.
Yeah.
He could spend a lot of money, be my guest, to find another way out.
Well, this is my
But
point.
now we have this existing way out for him, and it's been there for 50 years, and he wants it in writing. All right, in all honesty, John, I want his fence fixed before it cuts some congregant's skull open, right?
I agree with that, but on that, even whenever, they do a survey of the property and you've gotta have, so much of it's gonna be under concrete, asphalt, this, that, and the other, so that's gonna change
Yep,
the
sure,
whole outlook of the water flow.
yes.
And so, if we grant him something, that means whatever he pours on us, we gotta make sure we get rid of it. So I think it should behoove him to do something with his water, dig a deeper hole or something to take care of it, that it's not our problem. Our water runs fine. If he wants to develop that, then he's gonna have to do what he has to do.
And I'll tell you what else he's done. He said he would pay his 30% of resleeving the two Southampton culverts. Now he has linked that payment to us granting him.
I noticed that,
Huh?
but he will pay for it eventually, one way or another. Karma is good at
When we're all
collecting.
dead, that's when it'll happen.
But
And
it's,
that's what I told him, when we're all dead.
All right, again, shall we or shall we not engage this engineer? Mr. Nichols. PE.
How long would he be monitoring this for?
My impression is he's going to do a short-term study
Okay.
of the plans. And this was really a question I went to Rod with. What can he do that we can't do? We can look up permits. We can pull building plans. His point is well taken. It's an engineer, he's an expert. He can figure out what this guy is attempting to do probably better than we can.
Well, Southwest Florida Management will have already determined what he needs to do.
Yes.
And for us to hire somebody to look over their shoulder, don't make it, Southwest Florida's looking over his shoulder. They can handle it. Let them monitor it and take care of what that way he can't come back and say, we done something to him or caused him a hardship. We're not causing a hardship. The people that are making the rules, Southwest Florida, all them, they're making the rules.
Right.
Let them make him do it. It's not our place to be his watchdog.
Have they said that they would?
Hmm?
Has the board of people said that they would do this?
The only thing I know for sure is South Florida Water Management, in order to chop on his drainage plan, wants a guaranteed outfall. They wanna see where excess water on his property is gonna go.
Mhm.
That's why he is so hot. Despite the fact that he's paying Henry Handler, God knows how much money per hour. He came down here uninvited on a Sunday
Yeah.
to lobby for his drainage easement. He's really under the gun to get this.
According to what little I've read, he's gonna have to dig a bigger retention pond to maintain the water, cause they go on
And that may be,
100-year, 5-day rain is what they go by.
They
And-
changed that to 3-day, but
but that may be why he wants this. I guess my question is, if the Florida Department told us that would be crucial for him to get this approved, that he doesn't have to dig that pond, why would we wanna give that to him?
well, that's a good point. Or why not have him find another way?
Cause what's he gonna do for us if
Routing
we're
that
giving
water
him
out.
what he wants? What do we get back? Cause he told us he's gonna put fences around the buildings in the extremity, and he hasn't started that.
No,
He put a fence up, 2 years ago to start the building process, cause you have to when you're gonna do building. Hasn't started that. He doesn't take care of the fence that's now the county's property to maintain.
He was forced to go ahead and cut the grass back.
Wait.
When is it gonna be his taking the lead and following up without us having to get a pitchfork?
The way,
He's a vindictive man.
Yeah,
That's where he's coming from.
the way it's written in there, it says that once that easement is granted, which we've already have an easement, we're responsible to maintain it. It's on us. It comes out of our pocket. So if he's gonna run his water through our property, he's not required to pay a dime for anything. So if there's a problem downstream, then we gotta fix it, and it's nothing, no skin off his nose.
yeah, you caught
And
that.
and
Rod asked
he
him.
don't wanna say, well, hell, he don't even wanna pay for his half or his third of a drain, so the water can get off of his property. So what's he gonna do if something else happens?
Rod asked him specifically, as regard granting of the easement, would you pay your a fair percentage of the maintenance of the drainage system? I said, no, we're not gonna pay anything.
Well, even that, the way that
that's a
water
selling
runs, it
point.
goes,
That convinced me to go his way.
I mean, the way it runs part of it off our property onto his property, back through another culvert, down, and then through our culvert at the end.
Right.
And according to that, we gotta maintain all that, according to
Yes.
the easement that was
The old-
issued to begin with, even the stuff that's on his property. But as far as I'm concerned, if he bought the property, that's his drain, that's his problem.
Yes, it
You know,
is.
But he don't want.
As is the fence.
Right, but he don't wanna come up with, he needs to get a different shyster lawyer.
Alright, getting back to the proposal, did I read that engineering Nichols' specialty was hydrology?
Yes,
So that's his deal.
Yeah.
yes.
So-
Rod took the opportunity to brag that he too was an engineer.
Well,
I thought I was reading Jimmy Carter.
But could this guy go back to the water department and get ultimatum for him to make some changes to facilitate his own problem rather than coming at us sideways with something.
I think the money would change. I mean, we're really asking him to do a minimum thing.
Mhm.
Not absolutely convinced we couldn't do it ourselves. He has no more access to public record than we do. The difference is he's gonna understand it better.
Yeah.
Right?
But he
The
also may have
engineering-
contacts we don't have.
Yes,
And that may afford us an opportunity to say, can you get that kind of a feeling from them?
right.
And if they give that kind of an approval, he solved our problem. He's gonna have to come up with his own solution.
Good point.
Let's wag the tail.
Anything else on this? Somebody wanna make a motion?
I have a couple of questions I wanna ask. Number one, are we still getting reclaimed water?
Yes.
We are getting it.
Of
We're
course.
getting it now because I understood at one point, maybe about a month ago or so, that we weren't getting any reclaimed water.
Alright, here's the simple part of that. There's a sensor at the weir. If water gets above a certain height, it automatically turns off the reclaimed water until the level drops. Otherwise, we'd be pumping millions of gallons in and just go over the dam. So that's how that's controlled. It's not like it turns on every day. It turns on, especially in the rainy season, when needed.
But
In the dry season, there's just so much wrong with this. In the dry season, it pretty much runs every day, and sometimes it's way over 750K. It might pump 2 or 3 million gallons in, but we don't pay a lot for it. The problem is the water table moves. It just doesn't move on our campus. It moves globally. So in we pump that water, and guess where it goes? By percolation. Right? This reclaimed water is a problem, but without it, in the dry season, your grass and plants would all be brown. Would all be brown. The issue of various algae growths and other plants. Donald tells me we're now infested with hydrilla. This stuff grows exponentially. That's because reclaimed is high in nitrogen and phosphorus. Breed liquid fertilizer. Right? It's a real problem. You know, I know some people think it's very chic to point at Yucca. Oh, it's all your fault. Algae's your fault, hydrilla's your fault, blah, 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 blah. Right? I could vomit reading some of it. But we do the best we can. It would be very unwise to turn it off completely. And even if we did, we're still stuck for infrastructure recovery to the tune of $3,600 a month. The commodity is cheap.
Water itself.
The water is what, 5, 6, 7 cents
Oh,
per
yeah.
thousand, it's
Almost free,
nothing.
yeah.
But it's the infrastructure recovery, we're paying for building it.
Yeah, no, because it seems, and I mean, I go back to 77 when we bought our place. And we didn't have reclaimed
No.
water at that time, and our water, you could see in the main lake here, by the Century Lake by the lower, by FGH.
Yep.
I mean, you could see, I'm right in the back and see, and you could almost see it, in those years, before the reclaimed water came in, you could see right down to the bottom. And now you can't see anything.
This is a purely technical issue. We've been pumping fertilizer into that pond, how long? 8 years at least. It's a natural outcome. Now, I'll turn back a question to you, to everybody. To what degree do you want to chemicalize the pond to get rid of it? This stuff can be combated. You spray enough chemical, you pump enough chemicals in there, you can kill it all. And you'll have your crystal clear water. You won't have any fish in it, but
And
We had loads of carp in there before.
That's right.
And
That was
20 years
before.
from now, when people are dropping dead from
And
cancer.
the carbon capture start coming back.
This is a problem. It's a real problem. There's no magic. What keeps this desert bright green and lush?
Agent Orange.
Water.
We can't help the mistakes we've made, and we've made a few. When we didn't dredge, that was maybe one of the top mistakes that we made.
Dredge?
When we didn't dredge, where we put the, yeah, we should have
When we
dredged.
put the,
Oh, that's
Then
another
clean the
piece.
bags.
No, listen. That's another piece of garbage being pumped out as fake news. That sand was not dumped in the middle of the lake. That sand is inside the geotube. Give me a break. You got the sand that fills the geotube. There's some trash on the internet that we took all the sand and dumped it in the middle of the lake.
No, no,
And that's why we,
I'm
that's
not
why
talking-
we,
I'm not talking about
exactly,
that. I'm not talking about that,
nonsense.
but I'm not talking about that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Dredging was the way to go, not the things. But anyhow, that's another thing. We now have things that we never had before. I don't know what's creating it. Between the bugs, now we have flies. We never had flies. We never had flies. We have flies. We have all kinds of things that we never
Midge
had before.
flies.
No, I'm not talking about the midges.
No,
I'm talking
real
about regular flies.
real mosquito
We never had that
flies.
before.
South
So
Florida,
we've
you're gonna
created
have
our own,
bugs.
we've created our own monster in a sense.
There are changes that have occurred. If you do a little research and go back, let's say, I don't know, pick a year, 2000. You look at the average temperatures here in Florida.
Yeah, that's something.
Just think about what I'm gonna tell you. When I came down here to visit my parents, that's how far back I went. The average temperature in high summer, maximum was 88 degrees. Now, every day, we're running 92 to 95,
This is definitely weather change we're having.
okay? And then you can't get around this fertilizer we're pumping into the pond. There's no magic other than to stop it. Now, if you've been here a while, and you have, you remember what used to happen. You'd have beachfront property, that lake would drop 10 feet. Well, forget it, then all your pump intakes are above water, and you can't irrigate, right? So you wanna live with the brown grass and the dying foliage. That was, you made a deal with the devil. I sat here when the young engineers came in and briefed this, I sat right over there. And I kept thinking, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
And we used to have hundreds and hundreds of these white birds that ate all the flies and all the stuff that's in the grass.
You know, Dominic said something. It was absolutely brilliant. I asked the question, why don't we have hundreds of birds anymore on the roof at Somerset?
The gulls are not coming anymore.
And he said, because they can't see the
Thank you.
fish.
That's right.
That's why. And I said, Jesus Christ.
Wow, yeah, sure.
Brilliant.
You don't have the birds, you got the
Then we have the
bugs.
birds back
gulls-
on the
gulls
roof.
stopped coming the
Wonderful,
last
we'll
2
put
years. The
fish
gulls
out there
stopped
so they
coming.
can see
don't
them.
come here anymore.
So, we're a little, it's interesting, all this stuff.
I have another question.
Yes, dear, go.
Yes, dear. All right.
Easy.
She lost her question.
Now she just,
Wow.
No. If you ask for an opinion, you have an investigation going on, and the investigation comes back, and you and your board are not very happy about the investigation.
Yes.
You ask for a lawyer's opinion. Now,
yes,
the lawyer opinion comes back, why can't the board of directors get
Thank you
that
very much.
opinion
Thank you.
directly from the lawyer instead of the CAM? Is it up to the CAM to write you a letter back to tell you
Let me tell you,
supposedly?
why. This has been a problem for many years. Rod has an agreement with Yuko. He doesn't have an agreement with your association or any other association. He doesn't want to get phone calls from you. That's why his letterhead and signature are not on that opinion. All Donald is doing is taking the opinion and putting it on our stationery. Rod won't respond to questions from you, but you can feed questions through UCO, and we will send them to Rod within reason, right? But that's why we've had that complaint for many years.
It's been the standing way he's always done.
Right. You listen, you are certainly, there'd be a huge cost differential, but you certainly have full right and authority to have your attorney opine on these things. But that's gonna be an attorney whom you have an arrangement with, right? Retainer. you know.
Yeah. Well, I did get in touch after I got the notice from Donald, and I did call our attorney up to speak to them.
Right.
And you know, basically they told us, you know, almost the same thing. But the thing was, what the thing that I'm questioning is, why is those notes coming from Donald when he is our CAM? And I don't feel he should be even involved in the investigation.
He's the property
of this.
manager. He's the property manager. He's the ideal person to sign such a thing. Yes, he is running investigations. I'm not sure why you have a problem with that.
No, I just don't feel that that's part of his job to be running that. That should be the job of a vice president, not of the CAM. The CAM should be going around and doing whatever work that the campus needs to be
The
done.
CAM does technical work and strategic work. He does both. CAM has tremendous responsibilities. CAM should be involved in budget. And, you know, he went to school. It's not like a 4-year degree, but he had a lot of training and he took a test. And this is certainly well within his responsibility. Let me just say, I thought we had a motion on the table here.
Yeah, where'd that go?
About the engineer.
I don't think it came up
There
yet.
wasn't
No, we
a
didn't.
motion, we're just.
We've been talking about it without a
Okay.
motion.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we make a decision on this engineer? All right?
I make a motion, we
Wait
just,
till we.
No,
I just guess make a motion, we just leave everything as it is and let Southwest Florida handle it.
Motion is perfectly acceptable. We have a second on that?
I do.
Okay. Any further discussion? David?
$1,500 doesn't sound like a whole lot, and I don't think it is. But when we first did the thing at Southampton for the drainage plan, Central Village was a good neighbor. They went to Reflection Bay owner and asked him about doing their side. He said, nope, I'm not gonna do it. Then he changed his mind. So we're still a good neighbor. We're trying to do our part here. And I'm afraid that there might be some problems, but $1,500 I think is very cheap. I think it's very, I shouldn't say cheap, I think it's very reasonable. If we would have to go to court on some type of an issue, this guy would come, I'm an expert on this. You know, this isn't something that UCO pulled off the internet or something like this. And I think if you would have to go to court and need somebody's opinion, this is what I would wanna go to court with, someone who has that type of knowledge.
Right.
But is that part of his agreement?
No.
No, but I'm sure that if you would ask him, if you would have to pay him something to go to court or whatever, that's a different story.
Yeah.
He still has the qualifications to answer questions.
He has
That's what we do.
qualifications to appear for us as an expert witness.
Exactly.
Okay. Any further discussion on this engineer? Remember, the vote is not to hire the engineer, okay? All right, call it.
Okay, Bobby,
No.
and I'll say yes. Stuart,
Yes.
Joy,
No.
Ed,
No.
and David.
No.
Okay.
Does there need to be another motion to hire the engineer?
Oh, that should,
Well-
that should take care of it.
Here all day making that.
Well, there's only one alternative. So we're gonna hire the engineer.
Hire the engineer.
Thank you.
Am I missing something?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Marcia,
Well, where did $1,500 come into any of this? Someone mentioned 1,500, what is it?
that's the cost of hiring the engineer.
Where does it say any of this?
It's on the front
It's
page.
on the
Yeah,
front page?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice it, okay.
David,
I really think we should have a motion.
to hire the engineer. All right. Fine. Would someone like to make a
I'll
motion
make the
to
motion.
hire the engineer?
I'll second.
Could you stipulate that he will appear in court if necessary?
Oh, no, we can't do that.
You
But
can't do it for
not
the
for this
1,500.
price. Certainly you will, but you'll pay expert witness fee. Sure. I don't know if we wanna anticipate a horror story. I hope not to end up in court, but I don't think Walden has a leg to stand on. He can't insist that we give him the drainage.
Well, I think that the point is that we're now bringing in a professional, he brings in his attorney every time he brings up an issue. Now we're bringing in a professional that can
Right.
answer the attorney in the same language that they use, not what we do. So I think it's worth that alone, and see how much we can get out of the engineer for that amount of money.
So we have a motion to hire the engineer, having just passed a motion not to.
Right.
All right,
We did
Let me-
backwards.
Let me just battle one more time there is, you've got Waldman's engineers,
yes,
you got Southwest Florida engineers.
yes.
Southwest Florida engineer says you have to do this, and he says, well, I want to get Century Village to handle my stuff. And I'm saying, the engineers from Southwest Florida pretty much know everything that's going on, plus they make the rules. We don't have to fight them, but if he comes over here, then it's me fighting them with him in the back over here, and they're ultimately gonna make the decision and make the rules. I don't care what my guy says, or what his guy says. What Southwest Florida says is what's gonna rule. It's like you go to court, judge may not be right, but he's still the judge. Southwest Florida may not be right, but they're still making the decision. Just like when the commissioners say, well, we're gonna develop this land, which they made it 20 years ago, they made a deal that they weren't going to. Commissioner makes it, they do it. Same way with Florida.
Not
They're gonna-
exactly.
They're gonna say what they're gonna say.
Let me tell you, if you read all the paperwork, something that Rod said that was very scary. Because I was for simply denying Waldman any sort of easement. And the term he used was, Waldman has a prescriptive easement because he's done it for decades. And he's gonna go to Lake Worth Drainage District and South Florida Water Management, and he's going to make that claim through Henry Handler. And they're gonna give him his drainage easement. Now, albeit that Rod is trying to push his engineer friend, and that's a statement he made, and there's something to that. If you encroach on your neighbor's land long enough, and your neighbor doesn't say anything, he in essence has an easement, because you haven't done anything about it for so many years, and there he's been sitting. So,
Well, even when he purchased the property, the easement should have been part of it anyway.
sure,
But I think my problem here is he wants the easement, which the easement's there, they're not gonna change it. Southwest Florida already says the water's flowing, it's gonna flow. Whether we say he can or not, it's gonna flow. But we wanna try to get him to pitch in some bucks to help pay for
Sure.
that flow.
that'd be nice.
And the more you battle them on one hand, like I say, when Southwest Florida makes their decision, that's what we're gonna have to live with. And like you say, he come in and say, well, I've already got this. Well, we can say, okay, we know it's there, but you're gonna be putting more water than you had before. So that's what we're worried about. So he's gonna have to dig a bigger pond.
Lake Worth Drainage will undoubtedly complain about more water coming over that weir.
Right.
I guarantee it.
But but I say, with what good is our extra money that we're spending it's not gonna change that part. I mean, you know, we're getting the expert opinion, I don't discount that, but I'm just looking at the way the legality always runs, that we're gonna have to abide by Southwest Florida.
Sure.
For what Waldman says and what we says, neither one of them makes any difference, they're gonna be making the decision. And we're not gonna get anybody to override them, I'm sorry.
No, I agree, but I think we'll be better informed. That's the only argument I can make.
Also, you have an expert that could possibly plead our case from our point of view.
Well, I
And help,
figured,
and help
which is-
convince them to make the decision
I
other than
figured
what they
with-
would have.
if we get to that point that we need it, I'm sure he would still take on the job because he is professional, he has knowledge in that area, but do we wanna take him on? Who knows?
I don't think it hurts to have some preliminary information from him. I really think that it helps us if we have to go to the Southwest Water people also and ask for an opinion from them. If we can come with a professional engineer's report behind us, we're not coming in as average citizens with a
Novices.
very general
We're
knowledge.
better informed.
We're coming in with a
I
professional opinion.
can appreciate that, but I'm just
Right.
being the
No,
devil's
I
advocate here,
understand-
looking at the other
I
side.
understand what you're saying, John, I do.
Because I keep hearing, well, we make these decisions and we made a bad choice here, we spent money here, we spent money here, we spent money here, and it didn't, when the places we should be spending money, we're not, and to me, sometimes we're spending it where we shouldn't, so. Just putting my 2 cents worth in, so whenever it comes back, I can say, I told you so.
Or 15
Marcia.
But we have to be very careful that our places don't get flooded by doing this. And it's very possible, and maybe this is what the engineer can determine.
Yeah.
Because other engineers have determined that we will get flooded if this happens. And
You know,
some of our buildings will get flooded. So we have to be very careful about this.
We're not buying a pig in a poke. We know what we're getting here from this guy and we want some protection. But it goes further than that. And it goes, what is Waldman's motivations? And what does he think he can get away with? You already know that he doesn't wanna spend money and he doesn't wanna do anything that will make it easy for us. And we've been living with this and we know this is his modus operandi. The only thing that we could do is to at least have some protection with an expert opinion alerting us to something that we may not understand or be aware of.
That was my concern, the additional impermeable surface that he will create. And his average grade is at about 18 feet.
Right.
And ours is at about 14 feet. And that's where the issue of flooding comes into play. Now, if Lake Worth Drainage District looks at this, and I've thought about this, they could come back and say, wait a minute, we don't want all that extra water dumping over your dam. You're gonna have to build it higher and retain more. Waldman, at least from Rod's opinion, is making noises about not having retention ponds at all.
He wants the water to flow to us all the time.
Right.
Well, that's one thing I was gonna add there, that the difference in the two elevations, well, the new property is supposed to be, that elevation is supposed to be lowered to be equivalent to ours. And they were using the theory of it being higher, all that water for years drained down here, so all that water's coming this way anyway. It should be able to handle it because it was there, but I'm saying you're discounting all the asphalt and all the roads and all the other stuff you're building, it's still additional water. So there's gonna be more water coming, they need a bigger hole, they need a bigger retention pond. And he don't wanna give up the land for it, but I think with what Southwest Florida supposedly is asking for, is not unreasonable. And he's just trying to get a way out by pressuring us to do something.
Right.
And I said, it shouldn't be on us, it should be on him, he's gotta find something to do with his water. Run it out on Haverhill and put it in the drains out there if he wants to get rid of the water.
Come right back into the golf course. Yeah, we looked at that too. All right, anything else on this one?
No.
All right, now we have a motion to hire the engineer.
Yeah.
All right, why don't you call it?
Okay, the motion to hire an engineer, Bobby.
Yes.
Okay, me, I'll say yes, what the hell. We need them regardless.
Yes.
Stuart, yes, Joy,
Yes,
Ed,
Yes.
and David,
Yes.
okay.
oh, that was a lot, $1,500.
So who made that motion
I
to
think
do
it's a
that?
small
I
price.
did.
Made the motion.
Okay,
It
Who
was
said
made by
that?
anonymous.
who made this?
Any chairs, obviously, get your stuff in. So that Rhoda can go to work duplicating for delegate assembly, and that brings us to good and welfare. Don't all speak at once. All right, you'll entertain a motion.
To adjourn.
Thank you.
Without objection. Thank you all.
Long meeting.
Welcome back, Bob.
Yeah. You look good, Bob.
What is this? We turn the camera. Yes.